We welcome you back to the steam room. Charles, your line?
No, I'm going to change my line. I'm going to say beautiful, beautiful, talented special guest.
Oh, that could only, and a bulldog to boot.
Yes.
Maria Taylor of ESPN joining us. And Maria, thanks so much for taking some time because, man, you're busy. You're everywhere. You got college football, you got NBA, you got NFL, man alive. So thanks for hanging with us, and in one of your rare moments of being able to just exhale. How's life? How's life for you these days?
Man, thanks for having me. I've actually been waiting on my invitation. Like the shock and awe I got when I had the email, I was like, oh my God, I finally make it onto the steam room. Praise God. I would like to thank the University of Georgia, for allowing me and Ernie to become friends. I would like to thank it for also allowing me to bring a bulldog into Chuck's life and make him hold it in a jersey. Like there's so many special things that have come from that. Yeah. But no, I'm hanging out.
Well, Maria, I got to say, I always joke around that Georgia's the only school in the world where they name their women after their mascot. And you are a pleasant surprise how beautiful you are.
Oh, but what do they call the Auburn women? I'm just curious. Like if you
gorgeous and smart. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. You are doing such a fantastic job because there's no way they would give you the keys to all those sports if you wasn't talented and smart.
I appreciate that. I mean, honestly, I played volleyball and I played basketball at Georgia. And when I used to think about my career, like I thought the end game was just doing like the women's Final Four, making it to the volleyball championship. Like I couldn't have imagined the sports I get to cover or, being at the national championship for college football, being on the desk for NBA playoffs. Like that wasn't even something in my purview until I got to it. So I mean, honestly, it's a testament to ESPN in a lot of ways, believing in me, growing me. I mean, I've been with them since 2010. Like I first started freelancing and doing some college football games, doing women's basketball. And here we are almost 10 years later, still having a conversation about being on TV. Like it's shocking to me sometimes.
Hey, how's college football going to work this year anyway? I mean, that sounds like a stupid question, sure, Maria, but I've been so knee deep and neck deep in hoops. It's like I'm saying, I know some teams are going to play. I know some teams are not going to play. I know some people are really ticked off. So how's it going to work?
Okay, so, I mean, the Pac-12 isn't playing right now. Big Ten not playing. They still have a decision to make on whether or not maybe they start their season in Thanksgiving if they feel like things are a little bit better, or maybe we'll have a COVID vaccine. I know the Pac-12 just kind of found out that they can have rapid testing, COVID testing, where they can know in, say, maybe 45 minutes. So not that they could start the season right on time, but maybe they could start even sooner than Thanksgiving. And I mean, essentially all of the operations people that I've talked to, they'll probably test players and staff 3 times a week. If you have a positive COVID test, you immediately go into quarantine. Most teams have a, minimum number of available players they have to have. If that number is 53, if you don't have 53 players or you had a COVID outbreak, then that game is skipped that week. And there's a cushion built into the season where if you miss a week, that team could come back and play their game again because most teams are only playing in their conference. And the conferences are deciding most of these rules. So the testing 3 times a week, that rule. Obviously, how many people could be on the sidelines. Even stuff like piping music in, if you think about it. Most stadiums will be at 20% capacity. There will be fans in stadiums. But there's a lot of stuff that's just being decided on the fly. But it's going to happen. Games will happen. Game Day's traveling for the first time this week. They're going to Wake Forest, Clemson. So even our road show's going.
Wait, so Game Day, which is to me, I watch it religiously. I've been on it probably 5 or 6 times, but those guys are fantastic. So one of the best things about their show is the live audience.
I know.
I mean, so how are they going to do that? Or they, like I say, we're all on the fly right now, and they just don't even know.
We're doing virtual fans. So most of our shows will be from the stadium. And, we're just trying to get fans to chime in, and we'll kind of cut to them the same way that the NBA is doing in a lot of ways, the courtside pass. So you can see them, or we can turn to them when we're talking about Clemson. You just won't see them behind our set anymore, but we want to use their noise. Obviously, we want them to be dressing up, being crazy, and bring their signs and doing the same things. But Yeah, we won't have fans for a while.
That's gonna hurt. That's so tough too, because we would take our show on the road for the conference finals, and we're not going to do that this year. But it is such a huge part of your show with the signs and with somebody says Herbie says something or Lee says something and gets everybody going. I mean, that you have a whole new appreciation these days for what it's like to have that face-to-face with the fans.
Yeah, I always joke too, like for college game day, it's like the only show you go to work and every time you show up, like someone's cheering for you to do your job. Like it's the most unique thing ever. Like you just stand up and they're like, yes. And you're like, I didn't do anything. And I think that's what's special about college football too. And we all know it because we, went to schools in the South and that was like the thing that everyone rallied around. But it is a religion in a lot of ways. And like you see grandparents with their students, and then you see when we show up on Fridays, you know what I mean? Like they're bringing in newborn babies and they're dressed up in Auburn gear. Like it's the crazy thing that sets it apart that we are completely going to miss. I don't know for how long, but certainly the beginning of the season.
Maria, these days in the pandemic, the social situation, I mean, our jobs have all morphed a little bit over in the last several months. How many folks are telling you, hey, look, I'm turning you guys on because I don't want to hear about all this stuff. I'm looking for an escape. But I think we've found that over the years, and I think Charles had a lot to do with it because he basically changed the landscape of shows like ours that we can go outside the boundaries and talk about what's going on in the real world. But what is it like for you when you're saying, okay, we're not talking about, what's going on the floor. We're talking about what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no question. There's a very loud, I think, minority group of people that are telling us, still hitting us with the shut up and dribble button and just wanting to only come to the game to watch the game. And the reality is that there's no player in the NBA that is whatever 80% minority, or even if you add an international, they can't turn off being Black when they get to the court. So it's not fair for them to be expected to do so. So if they mention it in their post-game presser, then we should be able to come out and have that conversation. And honestly, it's unique even now that we have an NBA countdown show where it is all Black. You know what I mean? So we can have these conversations and we can dig into experiences and almost shed even more light to that conversation or that soundbite. And we do look at it as a great responsibility, but honestly, it's an opportunity because how often are we given a platform where we can have these discussions? How often is the country almost like okay with it? I mean, we just did college game day and we had a roundtable with college football players and all we talked about was racial injustice. And that spawned the reaction from Herbie.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you listen to these stories and not feel pain and not want to help? You know what I mean? It's like wearing a hoodie and putting your hands at 10 and 2. Oh God, I better look out because I'm wearing Nike gear. Like what? What are we talking about? And so you can't relate to that if you're white, but you can listen and you can try to help because this is not okay. It's just not.
We don't have that without the conversation. You know what I mean? And so this is the first time that we've ever, like, I've known it, you know what I mean? However long I've been in media, that's just been okay. And that's like a new normal, you know?
You know what I love, Maria? Look, we hear a lot of folks talking about what we should do, and talk versus action and that kind of thing. But I love a couple of things that you're involved in, that Dogs for Pups things up in Athens, which is you're trying to get mobile hotspots for internet for kids who have to, do virtual learning. That and that the Winning Edge Leadership Academy. You're trying to raise up next generation of Black head coaches, Black ADs. I mean, not to simplify it, but expound on that, because I think that's putting words to action.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I notice, and especially in covering college sports, and you guys probably know it too, but you'll go to the games and say 80% of the starting lineup will be Black men, and then you talk to everyone in administration and you're like, man, like there's no representation here, there's no one that looks like these kids that are leading anything. And I was fortunate that I went to the University of Georgia, so Damon Evans was my athletic director at the time, Carla Williams was my senior women's administrator, Arthur Johnson was there working in development. So I was like, we can do anything. This is what college athletics look like. So I was surprised when I got on the road and saw how poor diversity was, especially in college sports. And then I'm also talking to players and talking to kids, and they're all interested in working in sports but can't figure it out. So the winning edge is really just trying to be that bridge to help build diversity. So we're finding that great talent, specifically student athletes, trying to partner them with mentors in the industry that they want to work in, helping them build their resume, helping them find that entry-level job, going out, and we're talking to Adidas about, okay, can you just preserve 2 internship tracks for just the winning edge, or going out to Georgia and doing the same thing. And people are very receptive to it. And this was before we started the racial reckoning. I think people were very interested in trying to find diverse candidates, weren't sure how to, and we're just trying to ease that a little bit more now. And now we're in a situation where everyone is looking and searching and trying to do better with their workplace. So it's a great time to be a part of the organization.
Tell me about the hotspot thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so especially with at-home learning, obviously it would disproportionately affect Black kids, because if they're coming from a socioeconomic background where they don't have enough money necessarily for food and lights, then like mom and dad can't afford your Wi-Fi connection. How can you do online learning? How can you come home and even do the research that you need or do the work that you need from home? So, Dogs for Pups is all about making sure that the Athens-Clarke County community, the kids of that community, have access to Wi-Fi. It's like literally as simple as that. And the change that can make in a kid's life is huge, because a ton of the learning that they're doing now is on computers. Like they're given computers, they're given iPads at school, but then they go home and can't really use them anymore.
Let's do something for Chuckster here before we split with college football right around the corner. So I'll be one part of the stands and you be on you're the other side of the stands. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
Georgia.
Bulldogs.
Georgia.
Bulldogs.
Go.
Bulldogs. Sick 'em.
Hold on a second.
Take that for data, Chuck.
Hold on, let me pick these up. Those are our ratings going down, Maria. I had to pick them up.
Maria Taylor, it's wonderful to be a proud product of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communications at the University of Georgia. Wonderful to have you on the show, and continued success. You're doing just awesome, and the best is yet to come.
Oh, thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, darling.
You always talk to me about being legendary. Bigger than legendary, you are trending. You are #1 in the entire universe, all because of this.
I bet you don't know who that is, Ernie.
Hey, it's the boss, Rick Ross, MIA, yo.
Okay, Big Ernie.
Russell Westbrook in sicko mode, man.
Oh, okay, Ernie.
There you go,
Ernie. Who is that?
Drake and Travis Scott.
Oh,
If I'm not mistaken.
Come on, man. Ernie, you going too much right now. Oh, wait. Who is this, Ernie?
G-Unit.
Oh, no, it's over, Ernie.
Ernie, you got to tell us the reaction. Come on, man. This is the greatest thing. Your kids must be going nuts.
No, I just got all I got was a text a short time ago. Eric's been out of town, so I got a text from Eric the other day. He said, "So who gave you all that information?" That was one of the great gags we've ever done, man.
It was.
You know what's amazing though?
It was a lot of fun, man.
But the thing that was so awesome about it, like you guys do, Shaq and Kenny are diehard internet fans or whatever. And he's like, yo, man, Rick Ross gave Ernie a shout out tonight for saying that. I mean, like, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, and I think, if you were listening closely, I said a couple of times, I said, I owe it all to my mentor, Shaquille O'Neal. He's, giving me guidance, and Kenny's like, that's not all he's giving you. So, so.
Man, they get those things on the internet so fast. They were having so much fun with Ernie last night. It was awesome to be at work last night.
Oh, man.
That's the best. All right, lightning round, Chuck. You ready?
Yes, sir.
We're looking for some guarantees. Over under the Buccaneers games to win 9.
Over. Guaranteed.
All right.
Are they gonna play 16 games again?
They are playing 16 games if
Okay.
they can make it.
All
The
right.
odds of them completing the season, Charles, are 1 in 3.
3.
There you go.
Guaranteed. They're going to finish the season.
There you go. All right, Chuck. Eagles over under wins 9.
I'm going over. Guaranteed.
Oh, you are being generous today. All right, I'm trying to be nice to you. I'm not talking Steelers, so I'm taking your teams. The Cardinals over under wins 6.5.
Oh, over. We got DeAndre Hopkins to go with the great Larry Fitzgerald. Oh, and Kyler Murray's going to be better this year. But let me tell you something. We got DeAndre Hopkins to go with the great Larry Fitzgerald, who's the greatest athlete in Arizona history, Mr. Larry Fitzgerald, who's one of the best guys ever. Over. Guaranteed.
All right. Patriots wins over under 8.
Ooh. I got no choice here. They got my boy Cam Newton start. Over. Guaranteed.
All right. If everything goes as planned, Chuck, and the injuries are minimal and COVID's minimal, who's your Super Bowl champ?
Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs. They got everybody back, and they're better. They got the kid out of LSU, Clyde Hillard. They are the favorite. They are the prohibitive favorite.
What about us?
Well, I think if Big Ben comes back healthy, it's going to be between them and the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh is probably the most underrated coach he's right up there with Tomlin. I think him and Tomlin are probably the two most underrated coaches, especially Tomlin. I want to meet him. Can you hook me up with Tomlin? Ain't you got some pull in Pittsburgh?
I still have pull.
I mean,
We'll
I want to meet Coach Tomlin. He's on my bucket list.
Hey, who are the Chiefs going to beat in the Super Bowl?
I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers again.